myself is Shalini Bharadwaj. You all are watching ITV Networks Medically Speaking. So today we are going to discuss about hearing related issues. That means disabilities which are related to hearing, which is our biggest concern. As WHO has also said that nearly 2.5 billion people worldwide, or we can say that 1 in 4 people will be living with some degree of hearing loss by 2050. So we have with us on our panel that is Dr. Alok Thakur, who is a HOD of ENT at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. Welcome, Dr. Alok Thakur, sir. And our another guest is Dr. Sumit Mirk, who is a senior consultant as well as HOD of ENT department from Max Hospital. Welcome to the show, sir. Dr. Sumit Mirk, sir.
Thank you.
My first question goes to Dr. Alok. Sir, what is the reason behind it? Why it is so much neglected? People are not at all worried about it, and it's a major concern. As WHO has also given a study which says that it will become one of the greatest concern by 2050. What can be the reason behind it, sir?
So hearing loss traditionally is known as the silent disability, because people who have hearing loss generally would slowly withdraw from the from social interactions, for the simple reason that they obviously can't participate fully. And the problem with hearing loss is that it does lead to significant slow effects which are not easily recognized. So it does lead to decreased scholastic development in younger children. It leads to decreased language development in very young children. It does lead to decreased academic performance in school-going children. And it does lead to possibly even cognitive decline or mental decline and dementia in the elderly population who can't hear too well.
Yes, psychologically affected.
Sorry, psychologically they are affected. Probably, though we haven't sort of proved it scientifically to that extent. But why is it increasing? It is increasing because of risk-taking behavior. Unfortunately, hearing loss or the hearing damage is very minimal and slowly and cumulative. Cumulative means that it adds up over the years. So if we damage our ears by means of primarily noise, that is the major way that is happening. And we live in very noisy environments. Our cities are very noisy. We don't live in an environment which God made for us, which was a quiet environment. So we live in a different environment. We slowly damage our ears over the years. And in fact, now that we have come down to using earphones all the time, it is normal activity to use earphone for a phone or for music. The effects are showing as age increases. That is a basic issue.
So noise pollution is also one of the issue?
Is the major issue.
Sir, I have seen that, a lot of complaints are coming, especially nowadays. People are, because of the COVID, they are working from home. They are using more and more, earphones. So it is also because one of the reasons.
So certainly earphones, if we use at a loud volume, are an issue. It may not be such a great issue for conversation, but a poor quality earphone actually has to be used at high volume, so could be an issue. Otherwise, earphones for music can be a basic issue, because music has such highs and lows and troughs and highs, and you can have sudden increase in volume and amplitude, which can lead to ear damage.
Dr. Sumit Mirk, what can be the reason behind it? And you meet so many patients daily. So what kind of the common cause you have seen amongst these people?
You are talking about noise-induced pollution, or in general public you are talking about?
In general public, sir. In general, common cause.
See, as Dr. Alok also said, that hearing loss is something which is a silent killer. A child who is born deaf, when the child is born, if you don't have a program in practice like a universal newborn hearing screening program, the child will never be able to tell you that I can't hear. Okay, so we have different state of the society, which starts from a child who is born, to a child who goes to school with a discharging ears, to an adolescent who is into noise pollution, who is using a lot of headphones, who is in a noisy environment, the surrounding, the structure around them. And then we have the geriatric age group who ignore this slow and progressive hearing loss and adapt to it without getting any intervention. So I would say that the most important thing which we have to focus is that we should target from the birth. See, if you want to address this problem of hearing loss in our country, we have to go to the very basics, that every child who is born in India should be screened for a hearing loss. Now, these are the children. If you talk about, you say every 4 in 1,000 children born in India, they suffer from some kind of severe to profound loss. And every year, about 1 lakh of these kids born with some kind of a hearing deficiency. And it might be a shocking news to you what WHO has said today. But then even now, 1 in 5 people in the world have some kind of a hearing disability. So I would say that the most common, what I see, may vary from draining ears, from discharging ears to unilateral losses. I see a lot of patients who have hearing loss from one ear, but they don't even come to know about it till they focus that they are not able to perceive sound. In fact, people during COVID times, when they are sitting at their homes, they have realized that they have some kind of hearing loss, because otherwise in their office, in their busy schedules, they were never able to focus onto it. And incidence of unilateral hearing loss is also very high. So as I said, there is a wide spectrum of hearing loss which affects all age groups, all population, starting from a newborn who is born congenitally deaf, to a child in a low socioeconomic status who goes to school with draining ears, with discharging ears, and never goes off to check that what kind of a problem he has. And slowly and steadily, like Dr. Thakkar also said, hearing loss, you will get hardly less than 1% of people who will become suddenly deaf, having a sudden sensorineural loss. But most of them is acquired deafness, which keeps on accumulating with these discharging ears, causing erosion of the ear bones, ear ossicles, and finally the main organ of hearing, that's a cochlea. So we need to look at different age groups to see to this problem. That's very important.
That's really important. And right now we have with us Dr. Prachi Jain also from Artemis Hospital. Ma'am, I would like to know, Dr. Prachi, ma'am, what can be the reason behind it and how this thing can be prevented basically?
As Dr. Sumit said, that a universal screening program is very important, which is actually not followed. Even if a universal screening program is not followed, at least high-risk pregnancy screening program should be thoroughly followed. Any child who has had antenatal events, or who was born to a mother who was deaf, or had high-risk pregnancy such as hypertension, or the patient was on phenytoin or any drugs, or the patient has any kind of infections antenatally like rubella, these all patients need to be screened thoroughly. Any patient who had a perinatal insult, like any patient who was born and it did not cry at birth, patients who had high bilirubin, and patients later on who were given drugs which affect the hearing like aminoglycosides, cisplatin, chloroquine. For that matter, in this COVID times, chloroquine has been actually abused, not used, actually abused. So it is very important that all those patients, a lot of patients have now come to us with tinnitus. They hear some ringing sound in their ears. So you need to be very cautious when you're using drugs that cause decreased hearing. You should be using them cautiously. You should get an audiometry or hearing evaluation before starting that drug. And once you started off with that drug, periodic hearing assessment should always be done.
Dr. Prachi, you are from Alchemist Hospital. Ma'am, I wanted to know the reason behind it, this rubella infection. I have, read out a lot of studies about it. So what can be the reason behind it? Especially a lot of patients come, the children comes, newborn babies, because of the rubella infection. And government is also running a lot of, awareness campaigns also. So what exactly rubella infection means, if we talk about in a common language?
Actually, rubella infection and other torch, we call it torch infections, toxoplasma infections, rubella infections, cytomegalo infections. All these infections are basically viral infections which are transmitted. And then if the mother has it, there should be a screening for torch titer, which in most government hospitals also and most private institutions also, a torch titer is done. But then if you suspect that a mother has torch titers positive, or if you suspect during the antenatal ultrasounds that any defect is present, you feel that the ear is not well developed, or there are any heart defects, then you screen the child for having any rubella infection or having cytomegalo infections. And once you screen, then you need to do a thorough evaluation in terms of hearing also, in terms of eye checkup and cardiac evaluation also.
Dr. Alok Thakkar, sir, there are age-related hearing issues also?
Yes, age-related hearing issues. You mean the hearing loss of aging? That's
Yes,
what you
yes,
mean.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, so we call that presbyacusis, which basically means that there is degeneration of both ears and they get slowly developing hearing loss. It is defined as hearing loss over the age of 50, but over the age of 60, I'm so sorry. But unfortunately, even before that age, we have been noticing that there are people who are having hearing losses developing. And as I was saying to you a while ago, there are various reasons for it, but the prime reason is related to noise exposure during adulthood or during early life, midlife, which slowly accumulates. There is a very interesting study out from a fairly old study. It's about a 30-40-year-old study by Rosen, which sort of shows that the tribal populations from Africa who were not exposed to loud music or drums never developed age-related hearing loss. But it is only people who live in civilized societies who develop age-related hearing loss, because we are exposed to development and to the noises that come with it.
Dr. Sumit, sir, what are the new and latest technology if we talk about, to treat such issues?
See, the most important technology to treat such issues is it will again range what is the cause of hearing loss. Like I said, if we start from a newborn who is born deaf, now with the universal hearing screening program, you can have a basic otoacoustic test which can detect whether a child will be able to hear or not. And if there is a problem with the otoacoustic test, then you can do a simple test called as a BERA, brainstem evoked response audiometry. Now, once a child fails on this OE and on the BERA, you diagnose that child as a bilateral profound hearing loss. That is when the hearing loss is more than 90%. So the current intervention is that you should be able to do detection of this deafness by 1 month, establish or diagnose by 3 months, and you should be able to do intervention by 6 months. Now, all these newborn kids who are diagnosed as severe to profound loss, they should be counseled for a cochlear implant surgery. Now, in these kids who are born, in these infants who are born, the main organ of hearing is the cochlea, and which is generally not functional. And what you do is a cochlear implant. It is an electronic device which is placed inside the cochlea through an ear surgery. Now, that's very important. Many misconceptions in our country that it's a brain surgery. So it's not a brain surgery. It's an ear surgery, where you place an electronic device in the cochlea, and they have got certain electrodes, and you wear a processor outside. There is an outer external processor, which so this device, the internal and the external device, it serves as a bionic sense organ, your artificial ear, you can say, and it carries the sound signals from the external environment, and it converts into sound signal which goes into the brain, and you perceive as sound. So if you talk about these newborn who are diagnosed as severe to profound loss, they should be offered for a cochlear implant surgery. Now, the most important is the aging of...
Sir, one more thing, this cochlear implant is very much costly, because I have seen a lot of, families, they can't afford it. So any substitute of this particular surgery where they can go for the surgery?
See, Shalini, first of all, let me take away this myth from it that it's a costly surgery. Government of India, through the different schemes, the state program fundings, the central program through the EDIP scheme, more than 300 institutions in the country offer this cochlear implant. Dr. Alok Thakkar is a part of All India Institute, where the surgery is done free of cost. I am at a private hospital. We also do it with good standard care. But yes, the problem is not the cost of surgery. In fact, if you will be surprised that every year, more than 3,000 cochlear implants are sanctioned by the government for free implantation by to be used by the surgeons in the country to implant these deaf kids. But the problem what we are facing is not the problem of the money or the implant price.
Awareness.
The problem is awareness and early detection. By the time the children, these kids, they reach an ENT surgeon, they are already 3 to 4 years of age. Now, the average age of implantation in most of the institutions on an average across the country is 3 to 4 years. Now, that's the biggest problem. See, we are not administering the main root cause that why deafness is going. See, there is a small sapling which is going to grow into a tree after 15 years. So if you take care of that sapling during the early stage, it will not grow in a wrong way. So if we are able to identify these children at early by 6 months, and if they get an implant by 11th month, which is approved by the US FDA and which we follow in India, these children will have a normal life. They will go to normal school without any problem. They will have a fantastic speech like you and me are talking. The problem is that we don't have a standardized universal hearing screening program in our country. Unfortunately, as I told you, last year on 3rd of March, I, along with representations from AOI, our society, we met Dr. Harshvardhan and we gave him a proposal. And unfortunately, all of us got stuck in COVID. And my sincere request to our policymakers, health ministry, is to implement this universal newborn hearing screening program. Kerala is the only state in the country which is doing this for the last 2 to 3 years, although Rajasthan and Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh have got this program rolled out on paper, not in practicality. But then if we integrate the national, the universal newborn hearing screening program, and we integrate it with the immunization program, I can tell you.
That's very important, sir. That can be done.
We can. Yes. So we had 2 rounds of meeting last year. We can defy this WHO statistics, which are quite shocking to many of them. And why we are here, that WHO is saying that by 2050, like 3 decades from now, we will rise from 430 million to about 700 million with people with serious kind of hearing losses. So 30 years we are talking. It means that if we look after a child now, we will be able to look after them well, and they will not have this problem. So the root cause is this intervention, this early detection. And I think Dr. Alok will agree with me that we need to implement this at the center so that it is at par universal throughout the country.
Dr. Prachi, ma'am, what are the latest advancements in technology?
As Dr. Sumit already talked about the cochlear implantation can be done by the posterior by 2 techniques. Both of the techniques are equally developed, and there are various companies now, and sir has already also talked about the ADIP scheme. There are various central government funded schemes through which even the poorer section of the society can be implanted with implants. But you have to realize that the implantation is only 5% of the whole rehabilitation. The child requires rehabilitation. The implant needs to be done. And once the implant is done, then you need to teach the child the speech therapy, and the post-operative rehabilitation is the main focus, which requires the child to speak, the child to understand what's going on, and the parental support is very important in that. So once the implant is done, then you need to be on a regular, thorough follow-up to integrate the child back into normal society. It is important that the child goes through a good rehabilitating speech therapy post-operatively.
Dr. Alok, sir, where we need to focus right now, if we talk about, because we are focusing other diseases also. So if we say that, this particular disease, especially, hearing related issues, where we need to focus, we need to make aware, especially the parents also, the children also. So how it can be done, sir?
So I would first say that I would agree entirely with Dr. Mrek and Dr. Prachi Jain have said so far, that and what you have said, that there is a problem which is unrecognized. How we need to focus, I think the first thing we need to focus is to just realize that this is a problem which has a significant impact on how people develop and interact with society and on their economic potential. And the 3 major causes of hearing loss today are presbyacusis, number 2, discharging ears, and number 3, also early onset presbyacusis. But so I'll come to it one by one. There is the problem of young children, and young children having hearing loss are a very special group, because till about 20 years ago, these were children who grew up as what we called as deaf and dumb children. These were people who could not hear and could not speak, because if you don't hear, you don't learn to speak. Today, hearing is the only technology where we can replace the sense. This is the only technology where we can replace the sense at a fairly accessible, cost-effective way, and there is funding available to do it. So we have to find these people and do it before they become deaf and dumb. अगर आपने time से नहीं किया, if you don't do it on time, then it is not an effective intervention. It can only be done when the child is very young. So you have to find them. How it is a very effective intervention. That is the remarkable thing about it. So hearing is the only sense that we can replace. So you put in a wire into the cochlea and then you stimulate the cochlea, and technology has come to a point wherein they can hear sound, make sense of the words that come to them, go to school, start hearing, start speaking. So such an effective intervention. But if you don't do it in time, it doesn't work. You have to do it when the child is still young, which is why it is an area you must focus, because the whole life of the child depends on the intervention at that time. And now intervention is available, intervention is funded. There is no reason not to do it. People can get it done. We are in the stage where screening is necessary. So that is number 1. We have to get screening in place so that nobody in this world remains deaf and dumb. And this country can do it. Next, of course, is school children who have some hearing problem. And because they have hearing problem, they don't do well in school. You can sort it. It's not difficult. It needs a basic small operation. Any one of us can do that operation, but the child needs to come to us. The children are not detected. They need to be detected at school and referred to one of us. So that is the school health program. And thirdly, of course, when you tell us that 700 million will have this problem 30 years from now, it is going to be people in your and my age. We will have this problem. So we need to know. We need to know that this is impending. We will have this problem. And how can we prevent it? We can prevent it by being careful with the ears, not using earphones, not going to noisy marriages, not going to discos, not enjoying ourselves by huge speakers. I mean, the size of speakers today is as big as a truck. And of course, when you see speakers like that, what else will happen except damage your ears? Imagine kariye kitni power aa rahi hai us speakers se. As I was saying to you, God didn't make that. We made it. We will damage ourselves by using it.
Yeah.
3 aspects. Universal screening, school screening, and education, so that you and I don't damage our ears needlessly, thinking that we are having a good time, but actually damaging our ears.
Dr. Sumit Maik, sir, I have seen that, people, if they feel itchy, they use earbuds. How much it can be harmful?
See, so till now, we have spoken about congenital hearing loss. We are also talking about, like Dr. Thakkar said, about school-going children. So I think the most important, point in this entire discussion, I would say, is awareness. Is awareness about what is normal and what is not right. And I have seen people using the back of a pencil, their pen, the car keys, using buds, using toothpicks. So all these may cause trauma, especially they damage the very, very, delicate epithelium inside the ear canal, the outer part of the skin bearing the hair bearing area. And this can cause infections. In fact, I would see about close to 3 to 4 cases every month where there is a traumatic perforation or a hole in the drum when a person is trying to clean the earbud and suddenly the child comes running from behind and just impacts the person. So earbuds are to be discouraged. Now, I actually wonder that why earbuds are manufactured. We don't need earbuds. The problem is that we don't have something like a biannual checkup of people visiting for their ear canal. Like we go to a dentist. I never see people coming for routine checkup of the ears. And this is because there is no awareness. Now, if you see the blindness program in the country, the blindness program in the country is running for the last about 60 years. Everybody has got a little bit of problem in the vision. He immediately rushes to an ophthalmologist or an eye surgeon. But if you see the National Program for Prevention and Control of Deafness, people keep on suffering from problems, but they keep on using earbuds at home. When you use an earbud, you actually push the wax deep in. Nobody is able to take out a wax. In fact, I, as an ENT surgeon who knows what is the length of my canal, I have never been able to take out my wax with an earbud. I also need cleaning. So you should be very, very cautious about using such kind of things in cleaning. So that includes
So we
an
can say
awareness
that,
about
timely cleaning is also important. They should visit to a doctor and they should get their cleaning done.
See, like Dr. Alok said, when I was at Maulana Azad, we did a program. We did a lot of program for the school health, where we covered close to about 15 to 20 schools when the National Program for Prevention and Control of Deafness started. You will be surprised that earwax accumulation in a young child, may be the cause of a hearing loss. They ignore it and they sit in the class, and sometimes they have such amount of impacted wax that can cause about 25 to 30% of hearing loss. But since he's a child, he will not even notice it. He will not even come to know, because he doesn't know what is right and what is wrong. So maybe awareness and annual checkups to your ENT surgeon, and getting to know about what is right and what is wrong. I think that carries a lot of things. Yeah, and one more thing, we are only talking about this. The major strata of the society in our country is not congenital deaf. They are all having acquired deafness. Like Dr. Thakkar said, noise-induced hearing loss,
Lifestyle,
geriatric lifestyle. But what about those discharging ears? I see patients every day who are having a perforation in their drum. They are having ear discharge for the last 10 years, 15 years. But because it is not you can say an emergency problem, it is not a life-threatening problem, they don't visit. They don't do anything about it. So they just sit down at home, and finally, when they feel that their hearing has dropped to a level that they can't hear anything, they come out for treatment.
Dr. Prachi, ma'am, what message you would like to give?
As we've already said, that catching the patient at the right age and catching the disease process, that is the most important thing. We need to increase the awareness. And this time also, the WHO program is for hearing care for all. That is, you need to follow that at every age, there are different causes of hearing loss. And at each age, there are different problems that can be there. Apart from the congenitally deaf population, as we already discussed, there are patients with discharging ear. There are basic patients who have a lot of nasal obstruction, and those who have a lot of water deposited or mucus deposited behind their ear. They are not able to hear. They are bad at studies. So we need to catch those students early. And also because of this last year's lockdown and work from home has increased, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all these OTTs has increased. And a lot of patients have, fortunately for patients, the nasal diseases have come down because the allergies and everything has kind of come down because people have started using masks. But because of work from home, because of classes and everything going online, the earplug usage has increased a lot. And we have started seeing a lot of patients who are developing a lot of tinnitus or ringing in the ear. They are having impacted wax. They are having repeated ear infections. So we must tell there must be more awareness as to how much you can use. And as Dr. Alok said, all those noise environmental like discotheques and parties in which we go, and there is a lot of music. There can be a temporary threshold shift in which you might have decreased hearing, but you can hear normally again. But there are people who actually go deaf even on a single exposure.
Thank you.
And also workplace screening should be there.
Thank you, Dr. Alok Thakkar, Dr. Sumit Mirg, and Dr. Prachi for sharing so much important information with us. Thank you so much, sir.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.